Tonight, our top story is about US President Donald Trump. He has become the world's biggest arms merchant. Last night, he announced that the US will send Patriot missile defense systems and other top-of-the-line weapons to Ukraine, but not directly. This will happen through NATO allies buying American weapons. And it made us question, is this a security commitment or a business deal? Well, the US President and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stood together in the Oval Office to unveil the major strategic shift. The US will provide Patriot missile defense systems, but via sales to NATO countries. Exactly how this plan will work remains undetermined right now, and the timing is even less clear. According to some reports, in one proposed model, European allies would buy American weapons and then pass them on to Ukraine. They could send their own systems and then buy US replacements as well. What's more, Trump reportedly asked Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky if Ukraine can strike Moscow and St. Petersburg. And this is according to the Financial Times. That's during a phone call on July 4th. Trump told Zelensky to make Russians feel the pain and force Putin to negotiate. Zelensky reportedly replied that Ukraine could hit those cities, Moscow and St. Petersburg, if the US provided the weapons. Neither Kiev nor Washington have confirmed this conversation. After the call, Zelensky called it his most important, productive talk with Trump. But how is Russia reacting to Trump's warnings? Hear it for yourself.
Of course, as Dmitry Peskov said, we want to understand what is behind this statement on 50 days. It used to be 24 hours, and it was 100 days. We've all been through this, and we really want to know what motivates the President of the United States. It is clear that he is under enormous, I would say, indecent pressure from the European Union and the current leadership of NATO, who impudently supports Zelensky's demands to continue pumping him with modern weaponry, including offensive weapons, at the expense of more and more damage to taxpayers in Western countries.
On Tuesday, the Kremlin warned that Trump's promise of more weapons and new sanctions could embolden Ukraine and further delay peace talks. Trump has given Russia 50 days to reach a peace deal while announcing the weapons deal for Ukraine. Then there's, of course, the question of America's Patriot missile stockpile. It's no secret, but it is under strain. The Pentagon has ramped up Patriot manufacturing, which, according to some experts, signals concerns about stock depletion. And that's after supplying Ukraine, then Israel, and of course, defending its own bases during the Iranian missile and drone attacks last month. The Pentagon briefly halted further supplies. The logistical and practical questions aside, Trump's NATO reckoning has started to pay off. Now, for months, Trump publicly criticized Europe's defense spending. He warned NATO allies in Europe that they are too reliant on the US security umbrella and demanded that they should increase their military budgets. Remember, earlier this year, he had even questioned, I'm quoting him here, "Why are we paying billions more? We have an ocean between us," calling for 5% GDP defense spending. Instead of the standard 2%, now NATO countries are responding. At the Hague summit, 32 members agreed to raise defense budgets to a combined 5% of GDP by 2035. That's 3.5% core military plus 1.5% on resilience. It might not seem a lot, but this is a major shift. Countries like Germany, France, Poland, the Baltics are already committing to meeting this target. Europe's defense spending surge is fueled largely by Trump's thorn-in-the-side approach, with assets shifting from economic GDP to military output. And according to some experts, this spending spree may have limited economic return unless investments prioritize equipment, R&D, and domestic industry. Now in the Indo-Pacific, US and Australia have launched Talisman Sabre war games, testing HIMARS rockets as well as F-35s. They're joined by Japan, France, South Korea and Singapore. And that's not all. The US has majorly increased arms sales to Taiwan, reinforcing its position amid rising Chinese military pressure, all without any kind of formal diplomatic ties. In conclusion, Trump has perhaps become the world's biggest arms merchant. He's not just sending weapons, he is changing how the world works. Because in this case, Ukraine gets weapons, Europe pays for them, NATO spends more on defense, and America makes money. It's a plan that mixes business with security, and it makes Trump look strong at home and keeps America powerful abroad.